Welcome to Susan's Sensational Soul Sisters, where I, Susan Goodrich, the Goodwitch, get to interview heart-centered women who are doing soul work to evolve our world, and where they get to share incredible value with us right here. Today, I want to introduce you to Robin Lee. Welcome, Robin.
Hello, good to be here.
Great to have you. I'm excited. Robin is a health and longevity coach, as well as a lifelong artist, and she has a passion for making things fun. She will be talking about the 6 building blocks to health and longevity. And stay tuned because she'll be sharing how you can attend a special event that she's offering all the entire month of September. Robin, would you like to share with us what inspired you to become a health and longevity coach?
Well, I had been learning about health for quite a few years because my mom became chemically sensitive right before I went to college. And it basically turned life upside down for our family. All of a sudden, she couldn't eat a single thing out of the family grocery store because nothing was organic. And her sensitivities, it was something that it was one of the hardest things was, I'm going to tell you a little story, would be like when my dad would come home with some tiny scent because the office lady had brushed against his clothes and it would be a little bit of perfume or, laundry smell that nobody else could even smell. And he would come home and my mom could pass out on the floor or, her jaw would lock up. She would have these strange things. And as much as he loved her, he couldn't understand. It was like he had become this toxic factor in his life just because he would go to work. And so I wound up becoming like my mom's emotional support, in addition to, us actively finding what kind of tools would work to help her get better. And, but back maybe just 10 years ago, I wound up at an Alzheimer's conference and 2 people in a row got up and asked a question about what they could do to prevent Alzheimer's. Because once it happens in their family, they are terrified of it happening to them. And the doctor said, well, what we know is what's good for the heart is good for the brain. But the problem is he couldn't tell them a single thing of what was good for the heart or the brain because doctors have not been trained in nutrition and how to keep us healthy. So I decided, I know stuff. Maybe I need to start sharing. So that's how I started to become a health coach.
Wow. And how did you feel when your mother got really sick and was chemically sensitive? How did that make you feel?
Well, it was like this terrifying thing. Definitely, I don't want that ever to happen to me. So I became very proactive. Besides my mom doing all of her research for, what she could do to improve herself, it really became a mission for me to understand what makes us get that kind of debilitating disease, And so, but I also really have found, as my mom's emotional support, that I'm able to understand when people come to me with, the laundry list of symptoms that the doctors say they can't really do anything. They don't know what to do for this. And so, I come with both that understanding and being able to empathize with them and both the tools that I already have and the ability to think about how to find the answers. That was one of the things that my mom really gave me, was she gave me the understanding of how to do my own research. When she got sick, she didn't wait for the regular family doctor to say what was wrong and what she should do. because of the background she had been connected with, she knew to go in search of an environmental allergist. And the combination of that and an acupuncturist actually was what really helped her to start overcoming the chemical sensitivity.
Wow. So your mom was one of your mentors in this process, and obviously you were somebody who led you, to do this kind of work. I understand you also have another mentor that you had that helped you explore the health and longevity. Would you like to share a little bit about that?
Sure. So the longevity piece really came in when I was about 21. I went to a spiritual retreat with Ramtha Enlightened One, and he told us that we had immortal genes, and that scientists haven't found them yet, but they would. And if we learn how to turn them on, then we had the potential to live forever. And I thought, well, I want to learn how to do that. How come nobody ever told me that? And that wound up really setting me on a journey of understanding that largely like healing all the emotional baggage that's at the root of our chronic conditions. As we heal that stuff, we get cleaner and lighter and more free to choose. And that is a big key to longevity.
Beautiful. And as a longevity coach, just how long are we actually expected to live, right? If we do all the right things, and how many generations does that look like?
Well, that's a great question, Susan. So our Western scientists are now saying that the first person who will live to 150 and potentially to 1,000 has already been born. Now, 150 years is about 7 generations. And if you've heard that the Native Americans plan and make their decisions based on whether that choice is going to be beneficial to 7 generations in the future, what if you could actually not just be planning to have 7 generations in the future without you, but what if you could be planning to still be alive to see those 7 generations grow up and thrive and have grandchildren? That's one of the things that is possible according to our scientists in the West. Now in the East, they have a very different worldview and history. And there, people have lived already to hundreds and thousands of years. And so I'm actually in an Ayurvedic lineage that I'm learning that the master teachers have lived to 125 and 145. And that's actually one of the reasons I decided to start learning there, is because there are lineages of wisdom around the world that do exceed the Western expectation.
Wow, that's wild. 150 years or more. So, Robin, how do you actually serve people in this health and longevity program? I know that you have a program that you do, right? There's 6 building blocks to health and
So
longevity.
the 6 building blocks is my framework of habits, thoughts, energy and emotion, environment, identity, and spirituality. That all of these, I like to have people make sure they're taking into account, and how as part of their growing in little steps closer to being able to live a healthy, long life. I work with those 6 building blocks in either a group coaching program. I can work one-on-one with people to be able to assess what's really going on with their health or with their kids' health, like kids with autism, if they have their parent is starting to get dementia. There's so many ways that I work with people. Then sometimes that one-on-one is really helpful so that we can really drill down to what would improve their life the most and the fastest.
Beautiful. And I also understand that you also speak in public areas so that you educate that way as well.
I love giving talks on inspiring young people in schools, as well as one of my favorite sectors of people is kind of the busy mom or entrepreneur who has too much stress, so I can find ways to help them reduce their stress, but also be able to impart how they can make a bigger difference on a lot of levels. Because I work on the individual physical body, I work with the home, I do these beautiful hand painted tiles that can inspire you and make your home into a healing sanctuary. And then I work on the level of wanting to help be good stewards of the earth. Love talking about regenerative agriculture and managed grazing, and that how by doing that we can be helping the planet to mitigate climate change at the same time as growing healthier foods that can help us to live longer. And so that's one of my passions, to really share that there is hope, that we can live healthy and well on the planet. And it's not an us or the planet. It's us and the planet together.
Oh, I love that. I love that combination of us and the planet. That's so beautiful. And your hand painted tiles are amazing. I know you have a website, right, that has a lot of your tiles displayed.
I do. I've got a website that arttilesandsinks.com for the
Okay.
for
I'll
the
be sure
tiles.
to put that in the show notes for people to check them out because they are beautiful. They are absolutely beautiful. Thank you. So I I know, Robin, you have this event that you're doing. You're hosting next month, which is September. Hopefully everybody gets to see this podcast before you launch, right? Like before you're on. Can you tell us a little bit about why you decided to host this Great to Be Alive event?
Yeah, so September is my birthday month. And I used to, for quite a few years, I was not celebrating my birthday. Ramtha said, "Why do you celebrate getting a year older?" So I just stopped celebrating my birthday. But one time I decided, it's really great to be alive. So that's what I'm going to celebrate. I would do that on my birthday, and then it got extended to a week. And then because of COVID, I decided, well, what if I post something inspiring every day on Facebook for the month of September? Because, people were pretty down in that first year with the being all in lockdown and everything. This year, I started to meet some really amazing, highly impactful, inspiring people from all different fronts. Anything from, relationship coaches. One lady does helps start community gardens. I started to meet all of these people who know pieces that I know were important for health and longevity on a healthy, vibrant planet. So I thought, well, what if I just see how many of them I could get for interviews and, have experiences. I want to be able to locally do some of field trips to some of the regenerative farms near where I live in Washington. And so I just thought, well, how many fun things could I put together during the month of September that could help people drop in little seeds of how much fun it could be to live longer and happier lives.
Well,
So
yeah, because we really want to, yeah, because we want to, if we're going to live that long, right? We want to be happy, right?
that's right. We want to
Awesome.
be loving what we're doing. I love that you work with people to be able to create their business that's truly aligned with their soul. That's part of living, 150, 1,001 years. It's all about what we're doing here to fulfill our soul mission and vision.
Beautiful. So, Robin, can you tell us where can people sign up to reap the benefits of this amazing event that you're offering?
Well, I've got a group, a Great to Be Alive group on Facebook. And so we'll have that in the links in the chat. And then once you sign up there, we'll be doing, a lot of them will be Zoom calls. And so I'll wind up having the whole calendar listed there that you'll be able to drop in on the events. I'll also wind up having a VIP ticket that people will be able to keep all the recordings, in addition to having some fun bonuses that are going to be, I've started to dream up, I'm getting in the warm-up mode. So things are going to constantly be added, but one of them will be a one-on-one call with me so that we can explore like what's top of mind for you. I can do anything from what are your top 3 health concerns, or how do I get my kid to be inspired about life. So there's a whole range of things that I can do. So that one-on-one is going to be a fun way for people to be able to start to explore what longevity would look like for them.
Wow. That sounds like an amazing offer, an amazing event. So everybody, listeners, be sure to click the link in the comments, or if you didn't get that, just go to Facebook and look for Great to Be Alive Facebook group and sign up there. Just click on the join button. That'll get you there. Thanks, Robin, for sharing how we can live long and healthy. Now, I'd like to actually have you tell us a little bit about your experience in the Soul Aligned Business Blueprint program, because I know you were here. You have already mentioned that you had been in this program. And back in April 2024, that's only a few months ago, you came to your first session. And can you tell us where you were and what you were struggling with when you first got here?
Well, I have a business. As much as I love what I'm creating, I found there's always been like missing parts. I might have the landing page, but then I didn't have a next step, or, having grown the mailing list, or various different aspects have been missing. And then I also have fairly regularly found that I will self-sabotage just before something big is going to happen. Then I'll get the sore throat throughout, I'll wind up finding myself retracting after I took a step forward. So that was one of the things that's like, I know I don't want to do that anymore, but I don't know how to get out of it. So that's a little bit of where I was.
So what did it feel like to kind of go through some of the processes, or can you explain a little bit what it was like actually working in this program with me?
Well, I found it really, in that first part related to that I would have these missing links, I found it really excellent that you had things broken down so that I could see there were steps that I didn't know. I would say, I do this, and then you're like, well, that's actually 2 different things. And that was one of the reasons I found that I was not maybe making as much progress as I should, because I didn't take into account all the things that were important within getting those things done. So that was very helpful. And then when it came to the self-sabotage, I remember there were several occasions you would stop me and say, I've got a tool. I think we should do this process that I've got. And I can't tell you exactly what they are right now, but I remember the effect that it had was to really clear out a lot of that. I need to feel small so that this person doesn't see what I'm doing and have issues with it. And so it was just, it was definitely a great part of my evolving into having the business that I want.
Right. So the transformation that you experienced, right, which has affected your life and your business, right? I see as you've actually created some momentum. Would you say that's true, that there's been bigger steps that you've taken?
Yeah, and definitely, I mean, even just deciding to really do this September celebration as big as it's looking like it could be, I don't think I would have been as ready for that if I hadn't been through your program.
Beautiful. But in reflection, I remember, because I've been with you in learning how to speak. We've been in another group together. And you referred to about sort of playing small. And there I have seen so much growth since we started in how you stand up, shine, and share your message. Would you attribute any of that to this work that we did inside of Soul Aligned Business Blueprint?
Well, it's definitely, I consider like each program, sometimes even each conversation that you have with somebody can be that like next stepping stone thing, right? And every time you have one little tool that you can add that makes a difference,
I was just because I mean,
that is
that's what that is what I see in you, right?
right.
I totally see that because you were come in very small and you do your talk, but you didn't have this energy, right? That you actually were able to step through.
It's like it's one of the stepping stones, because that is definitely true.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So thank you, Robin, for sharing your wisdom and for trusting me with your soul. We're here in sisterhood to evolve each other. I know that. And thank you, listeners, for your attention. I'm inviting you to join the Robin's month-long event, Great to Be Alive, in her Facebook group. Make sure you go over there. And if you'd like to find out more about the Soul Aligned Business Blueprint program, you can visit transformwithsue.com, or again, check the show notes for links to both. Robin, would you like to share a final piece of soul wisdom with us?
Yes, I'd like to just say that we can make, just with little changes, we can make it possible to have it be fun doing the right thing for ourselves, our health, and the planet. And so I invite you all to start making those little steps.
Beautiful. Such wisdom. Thank you, Robin. And thank you, listeners, for joining us today. And remember, it's never too late to make your dreams come true, because you might have to have 150 years worth of them. And may your day be filled with magic.
And rather than you might have to, you might get to.